Meghan Markle is being accused of taking another swipe at the royal family, saying she and Prince Harry were happy to leave the UK, adding that they were upsetting the dynamic of the hierarchy just by existing. In the interview with an American magazine, the Duchess of Sussex also claimed that asking for financial freedom from the firm wasn't reinventing the wheel, whilst Harry said his family back home aren't able to work and live together. It follows the launch of Meghan's Archetypes podcast, where she revealed she'd felt the negativity of being labelled ambitious after becoming a royal. And if you thought tensions couldn't deepen any further, then think again. With the row over their security rumbling on, the Sussexes are reportedly unlikely to visit the Queen at Balmoral when they return to Britain next week. So, is there any way to end this family feud? I mean, I look at the details and on one hand, I'm a little bit sad that they sort of come to this, that they still think that it's important just to upset the apple cart every 5 minutes, just as we think they're going to go away. And then, no, they come back with the most boring podcast ever produced by anybody, where Madam herself just, I don't know, opines on every single aspect of whatever bore-off stuff she wants to talk about. And it's kind of... It's a bit sad that they felt that they, or particularly she, could push this hierarchy in a way from where it is, which is, this is how it works, this is how succession works, this is how the firm, if you like, is going to replace those who move on. And look, I have some sympathy with some of the things that she's saying, that, you know, maybe there were square pegs, round holes, and things didn't fit, and it was uncomfortable, and they were told things that they didn't like. But I still find this grabbing the headlines a little bit unfortunate. And I also think that the damage that they've done to the royal family, the damage they've done to the institution, the damage that they've done for their reputation for the long term is huge. But you'll probably disagree with me, Afia.
Yes, I will disagree with you. There's a surprise. I think when it comes to headline grabbing, look, Meghan gave this interview to The Cut, and the press everywhere decided that there was headlines in there after they read the article and extrapolated what they wanted to. Look, if Meghan's going to talk about her life, what she's doing now, her documentaries going forward, archetypes, doing the school run, and that grabs headlines, that's not necessarily her fault.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
If you don't find it interesting, my solution is very simple. Just don't read it. The Archetypes podcast, I thought, was actually very, very interesting because I'm the target audience. I'm a black woman. I'm listening to two black women talk about their experiences of being labelled ambitious, of being called the B word, of being told that they're in spaces they shouldn't be taking up. And, you know, that really affects a woman's ambition. It really affects her earning power. So
can I ask a question about
as a black woman, I find that very interesting. You probably won't find that interesting because, no offence, you're not a black woman.
I am not a black woman, but I'll tell you something.
True.
But you see, both of them are enormously successful. So when I find, you know, I personally never interpreted the word ambitious. And I think if you're going to be a tennis player, my God, you've got to have ambition.
Absolutely.
And with bucketfuls, and my goodness me, she had it. So, you know, the fact that they both have this ambition, I'm like, amazing, this is fantastic, but please don't ram it down my throat that I think something else. And that's perhaps my problem with it. But
no one's ramming anything down your throat, James. It's just we're saying, what Afia's saying very eloquently is, you don't have to listen to it. No one's ramming anything down anybody's throat. As you rightly said, again, Afia, this was an article in which Meghan was interviewed. Meghan's a celebrity now. Celebrities do interviews. They talk about the podcast that they're on. This is not abnormal behaviour. And as Afia said, the press have extrapolated different bits to suit their own agendas. If the press are so obsessed with Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family alone, why don't they just never write an article about Harry and Meghan?
There we go.
Again?
That's literally that simple.
I don't think we should be too worried about what the press do or don't, because we can't control that. It's just going to happen. On face value, if what she says is absolutely true, that they were a square peg in a round hole, they left. They did the right thing. If I had someone in a company like that, I'd rather hope they left, because they'd be a disruptive force. Where I think a lot of the British public struggle with, because we do have it rammed down our throats, I'm afraid. It is on TV. It is now on TV. It is in the press. So I think it's hard to avoid, is this sense that actually they've been unfair to the Queen. And that, I think, is what we get very sensitive to. The fact that we hear, you know, she may not be as well as people think she might be. He's not going up to see her. That is something that most people will think, oh, wish she'd go and see the Queen. She's an amazing lady. Please don't dish more of this stuff about we're a dysfunctional family, whilst the Queen, at the very least, whilst the Queen is with us. That, I think, is where the British public have a right to have an opinion.
Yeah, but...
obviously not. Yeah, but doesn't mean yes, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, there you go.
As Harry said in the article where he was quoted, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't.
Absolutely.
Before they had even left the royal family, they were being hounded by the press. Every negative article that could be written about them could be spam. When Kate Middleton is eating avocados, it's great. She's doing great things for the avocado market. When Meghan Markle eats an avocado, she's decimating the third world and all this kind of thing. There is always negativity, and actually...
That's not really answering my point.
Well, it is. I'm getting to that, Nick.
Oh, I knew you would. I knew you would.
The Butt Sentinel released a study that found the press around Meghan was disproportionately negative, and 70% of hateful posts about Meghan came from just 83 accounts that had reached to 17 million Twitter users. Whatever she does, there's always going to be a negativity about her in the British press. And now that they've left the family, it's now, oh, but now they're disrespecting the Queen. Before, when they were in the royal family, they're disrespecting the royal family. Now it's, oh, well, now you've left us and you're not she's abdicated from all duties, and now this is bad against the Queen. No matter what they do.
It's not the disrespect, is it? It's the sensitivity to the family. The British public have a right to say, you're basically saying we're a dysfunctional family. You can't live
Look at family. Look at Andrew.
Exactly.
How can you
Look,
two wrongs don't make a right.
If they did this interview and didn't mention the Queen, Prince Charles, or anybody in the royal family once, the headlines would be, Harry and Meghan do interview, don't mention the Queen, they don't care.
that is fair.
If they did the interview, and they mentioned the Queen, Harry and Meghan do interview, mention the Queen, how dare they? They are damned if they do,
well,
and they are damned
if
they don't.
I think there's a really interesting point, though, here, just but where I do agree with Harry, where Harry said, family back home, we aren't able to work and live together.
He said that about friends and family. He didn't just say that about the royal family. He said that about everyone.
But I think it's a really interesting point to make, though, which is, privately, I feel really upset for them that they feel that they can't go and visit their grandma and they can't go and do these things that normal families...
They can, they might. We don't know that they're not going to visit the Queen.
I feel as if perhaps they won't. And so I feel really sorry for them. But then on the other hand, I do feel as if they're playing everything possible in order to make sure that they keep themselves relevant, to make sure that they're going to get the new deals and everything else, because they've worked out how expensive they are to run and they want that lifestyle.